next thing we're going to talk about is designing your life.
How to prepare financially for your move.
This is so important.
Yeah, because we actually got a couple questions connected to this today, right?
Yeah, it's so important.
So the first thing you want to do is research your cost of living, right?
Yeah, you need to have an accurate idea of the cost of living. How your new city compares to the current city that you're living in, right? Your housing, of course, tends to be the biggest monthly cost. So you should start there. Start with figuring out how much the new home will cost you, whether you're renting, whether you're buying, or whatever. Even if you don't know what you're going to do, make sure you think about that. The other thing is make sure you're considering any new costs that you're going to incur after your move. For example, if you're moving to a new city and it's got bike trails and public transit, or are you moving to a city that has more of a car culture? Right. So here in DC, it's more of a public transportation culture. There's tons of Ubers and Lyfts and buses and bike trails and electric bikes you can rent. And the transportation here is above average, I would say. It's very diverse. You can definitely live in the city with no car. But if you're going to move to the outer areas like a Bowie, we were talking about Columbia, Maryland, Reston, you're going to need a car. So if you live somewhere you don't have a car, you move here, that's an extra cost. Okay. Make sure you investigate the local tax situation. I noticed when we moved here, tax on our car is 5% of the car's value. Every year. Done. I think I paid more taxes to Virginia within the first month of moving here. But we had a little help with that with his company. But you have to consider things like that. So I think for relocating for tax issues, you got to get your driver's license, you got to get your tags, you have to get things like that. So you want to look at what is the cost of those things before you really make that move. You don't want to run into any unpleasant financial surprises at tax time. And then understanding the tax consequences as relates to your paycheck too, right? Because that was another one for us. You may have a little bit better scenario in Virginia, DC, and then Maryland versus the other way around, right? And so I think if you live in Maryland, your taxes are going to be a little bit higher as related to your paycheck. Yeah. So investigate all those kinds of things. The next one is make your budget. What's the budget? Right? You're going to have, really you need two separate budgets, right? You're going to need a budget for your move, the move itself, right? The physical moving of the things that you have. Yep. And then you're going to need a budget for the expenses in terms of what you'll have when you move into your new place. So, make sure that you're clear on all of your costs, getting you and your belongings to the destination, the cost of selling into the home, as Tracy was alluding to. Like we had to stay in a hotel for 3 days, I think. Yeah, and that was unexpected too, right? Because our truck wasn't getting here. Yeah. So now if you're doing a shorter move, you're moving in state somewhere in one state to another state. I mean, you could probably get that done for $1,000 or less, right? But if you're going, over 1,000 miles, you're gonna traverse a couple of different states. You're gonna get your U-Haul and pack all of that stuff. You gotta figure out the gas. Hey, you still got the expenses, right? How much gas is it gonna cost? What kind of stuff you have to buy, just the boxes and the packing material and the bubble wrap, and you don't want to break all your plates and glasses and what have you, right? And so you're going to go along the way, you're going to pay some tolls, you're going to have maybe to stay in a hotel overnight or 2 days. So all of these things you want to make sure that you're allot for. Yeah, make sure you have your fees ready for moving into your apartment or your house. And you're not going to be able to, it's not going to be perfect. That's why you have to leave room. So you want to build an emergency fund. That's the next thing. Yeah, have your extra bag, right? And so, hey, if something unforeseen happens, you got some cash, you got some funds on hand. Typically you'll hear kind of 3 to 6 months for those kinds of things, right? People say, hey, I think that's a lot. What are your expenses? If you don't have a job, I think you need that much. But if 3 months, you want to at least have a month or two. You don't want to go in and not have any extra money, basically. Yeah. I think perfect world, you want to have 6 to 12 months if you can just like paint the picture and just say, hey, no matter what happens, and I got 6 months of expenses to find a job. Yeah, they give you time to find a job, to do whatever you need to do, and you still living. And when we say expenses, we mean food, clothing, shelter, not the cable bill and stuff like that.
You can turn that off.
You can turn that off. You want to see what the banking is like. Everybody has to have banking everywhere you go. And if you're like banking with a local bank or a credit union, when you move here, you might not have access to that. Or if you have access to it, and whenever you access it, you get additional fees. So you want to make sure that the banking is in line when you move to your new town, right?
Yeah, you mean like you have a network of ATMs, and so every time you need to put your hands on some
make
money,
sure they
you
at least reimburse you.
Yeah. So just make sure you got all that
or
tight.
Use your debit card. I mean, debit cards make it a lot better now, but
make sure you got it all
just
tight.
make sure that's tight.
Yep.
Get your credit score as high as you can.
Optimize
that credit score, whether you're renting or buying. It does not matter. Either way, you're going to need to have that credit score as high as it can go.
Yep.
They're going to run your credit every time.
Yep.
When you open your utilities, they going to check and see if you paid your utilities where you were before. And then try to get rid, you don't, and then during that time, don't open any new credit. If you know you're going to move, don't open any new credit. Cut your utilization of your credit down as much as you can, because you're going to need that space when you move. There are things you're going to want to buy for your new place. You're going to have to put food in the house. That's usually your first big bill.
Yep.
You're going to have to get more cleaning supplies. There's things you're just going to have to do, things you're going to want to do.
And definitely, be buying a house, don't change anything, right?
No.
Don't add credit cards. Don't buy a new
nothing.
car.
Don't miss any payments.
Change all your little ratios and stuff.
Get rid of as much debt as you can, too.
Yep.
That's another thing. When you move to a new town, you don't want to carry your old bill or something like that with you, because it just be, I don't have to pay that. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
So before you move and, you want to get it all paid down, you'll relax more. You'll enjoy your new town more, and you're going to minimize that monthly outgo because you already took care of it. You're done. You've cut off everything from that old place. You're all done with that old place.
Yeah, start a clean slate as much as you can.
Yeah. When you move to a new city, there are two paths you can choose, y'all. You can either do your financial prep work.
Yep.
Or you can just wing it. We don't recommend the latter. I don't think we've ever winged it, have we? Yeah, I think when we moved from college back home, we were winging it.
We were winging a lot of stuff.
But when we left Georgia and moved to North Carolina, we were ready. And when we moved from North Carolina to D.C., we were ready.
Yeah.
We did not play.
We were doing things on purpose. We've been very purposeful about all the things that we're talking about today.
And it was enjoyable and it was easy.
And it made a tremendous difference.
And one thing I noticed that we always move to the new place. Even if we're getting an increase in salary or something like that, we try to pull back on the outgo. Even when we moved here, it was difficult to do. But we said, we're going to do everything on one salary. We're going to figure out if we can do this on one salary.
Increase.
And that's how you do it. So we figured out everything on one salary, and then we got the additional salary, so now it's great. But if you move to a city and say, we need both salaries and we're going to do everything on both salaries, do you have to do that? So think about that. Think about how you move. And if it takes a little longer, be patient. We talked about that too. Be patient.
We speak increase of everyone listening and everyone watching in your life.
Yes. Thank you, baby. Thank you for that.